Hey everyone, Regal Reviews here. It is White Rice Wednesday, which means it's time. It's the season premiere of Survivor Ghost Island, and I gotta say I'm really liking this season so far. So to start off, they have to pick a leader for their tribe, which makes it complicated because they don't even know each other yet. And for the Malolo tribe, it's Brendan, and for the Naviti tribe, it's Chris, and they basically decide who in their tribe gets to participate in the challenge. They decide who participates in the physical part of the challenge, which Naviti chose Sebastian, and Malolo chose Michael, and also who will solve the puzzle. Brendan chose Laurel and Chris chose Desiree. And they had to race, they had to race in this obstacle course to get these keys, and the puzzle solver would unlock and solve the puzzle. Pretty basic Survivor challenge. And the winner of, this is a lot, they had a lot going on the first 10 minutes here. The winning tribe would get a machete, rice, pan, fishing kit, and a shelter kit. And if they lose their fishing gear. And also another twist in the challenge is that at some point when the puzzle starts, Jeff will start the sand timer, and at any time the leader can choose to forfeit the challenge. If they choose to forfeit the challenge, obviously they lose, but then they also give up their fishing gear and eggs and flint. And it ended up being really neck and neck there for a while, and Chris actually made the decision to forfeit the challenge, so Malolo actually won the reward challenge. And it was interesting because Jeff asked anybody regret the decision, and Dominic was the only one that says that he thinks that Chris's decision was bad, and he basically said, I'm a truth teller, I'll tell you the truth right to your face. I'm like, I already like this guy right off the bat. On the Malolo tribe, Michael doesn't want to tell anybody his age, the fact that he's 18. He thinks that it could be a liability, and I definitely think he's thinking smart, because if people know that he's an 18-year-old, they're going to automatically assume, oh, he doesn't know how to play the game, we don't want to work with him, he's got to be the first one to go because he's going to be this all goofball out here. So he is making a smart decision by keeping his age a secret. And let me see my notes here. Donovan wants to be able to get to know people more, because he hasn't been able to get to know people from where he's from. And he seems like him and Laurel seem to have, I don't know if they're just talking like friends, or they maybe have an alliance going. On Naviti, Dominic reveals that he used to weigh a lot, and his kids were his inspiration to not only lose the weight, but to actually come out here. And he also said that he's supposed to bring home the bacon, which I'm hoping he brings home the idols. That'd be freaking awesome if Dominic can bring home idols this season. And Chris seems like he's buddy-buddy with Sebastian, and right away, Chris already has vendetta against Dominic and wants to get rid of him because he's the only one that said that his decision was bad for forfeiting the challenge. On Malolo, Jacob ends up losing his shoes right off the bat, and he doesn't really have a good first impression with his tribe, because he is already going out to search for idols, and it's a very bold move, the first few days out there, to go in the search for an idol, because you already then have a target on your back, because then they'll either know that you're going out there searching for an idol, you must be paranoid, or they don't know, oh my god, this guy could have an idol. And Donovan doesn't want to stand out. Jacob looks for an idol, but he couldn't find one. On the Navidi tribe, Wendell and Desiree kind of talk together, and I'm getting a really good vibe from Wendell. I feel like he's kind of quiet right now, but I feel like he's gonna be a fan favorite this season. And Sebastian then tells Wendell that he wants Dominic gone, which makes things complicated because Wendell and Dominic seem to be hitting it off, like they could be in a good alliance. And I gotta say, I'm really liking the Wendell-Dominic alliance. Those are two of my favorite players this season. The immunity challenge, they have to race across and bring. They have to race across and bring. They have to race over this obstacle and pull the puzzle pieces on this wagon with a rope, and then they have to solve a cube puzzle. And Navidi, because they lost the reward, they're playing for Flint, and someone from the losing tribe will be sent to Ghost Island. And Malolo was really behind in the challenge, and it actually ended up being Navidi that won the first immunity challenge, so congratulations to Navidi for winning immunity. And what's interesting is that we all didn't get the concept of Ghost Island at first, but now apparently whoever you send to Ghost Island is safe from the vote. So basically, you get sent to Ghost Island, you have the option to get an immunity, and you're also safe from the vote. So it's actually could be a good thing to be sent to Ghost Island, especially if you're on the chopping block. And Jacob was actually the one sent to Ghost Island, so it was actually worked out in his favor. And on Ghost Island, it is freaking spooky. It has the sign that says one bad move can cost your game, something like that, and like all the urns are all in this little, made out of this little hut area. And Jacob had to follow this fire, and there's all these 13 different urns, and I'm gonna assume there's like some kind of advantage or idol or something hidden in there. And Jacob actually finds the legacy advantage, and not just any, it was Sierra's from Game Changers. And we all know how the legacy advantage works. It's never really worked out in anyone's favor before, with the exception of Sarah's. You can only use the legacy advantage when there's 13 people left in the game, or when there's 6 people left in the game. So maybe Jacob can use it to his advantage. And I thought at first Jacob would keep it himself, but he actually has to wield it to somebody on the other tribe, and he chooses to wield the legacy advantage to Morgan. So Morgan's actually in a pretty good spot right now. On the Malolo tribe, Jonathan wants Gonzalez gone, and vice versa. Gonzalez wants Jonathan gone, and it's like this big toss-up, like who to get rid of, because they see Gonzalez as like this huge threat, like she could be a very strategic and social threat, whereas Jonathan is weaker in the group. But some people argue that they could kind of take him under their wing. At Tribal Council, I didn't really like the fact that Gonzalez said that Jacob was special. Like, what was she why was she saying that he was quote-unquote special? Was she referring to the fact that Jacob might be stupid or something? And Stephanie says that there's a lot of critique going into tonight's vote, and Gonzalez actually makes it an epic tribal council and actually gets up to make sure everyone's going to vote the way they're supposed to tonight. And It actually ends up being Gonzalez being the first one sent home. And Gonzalez was an early pick for me, but from my first impression from this episode, I'm kind of glad she went home. She kind of came across as bitchy a little bit, and I especially didn't like the comment she made about Jacob. So, this actually was a 2-hour episode, so technically it's 2 episodes, but it was, 2-hour premiere. So, back on the Navidi tribe, Dominic hasn't had much luck finding an idol in the day, so he goes and tries to look for an idol at night, and lo and behold, Dominic finds the first idol of the season. So, congratulations, Dominic. I freaking knew that guy would find an idol. He's definitely one of my favorites this season. He found a specific idol. He found Andrea's idol back from season 26. And Morgan finds out that she has the legacy advantage, and she's all excited about it. I mean, I would be too. You're in a pretty good spot right now. On Ghost Island, Jacob is actually making some pretty good moves. He's actually making a fake idol to try to kind of lie about what actually goes on at Ghost Island. He's going to say that instead that he found the legacy advantage, he's going to say that he found an idol. And Jacob tells everybody, hey, I found this idol. And he thinks his truth skills are off the charts, but I don't think the tribe's buying it at all. Like, you can see the look on their faces. They're not buying anything Jacob's saying. But it does put some fear in them because they are wondering, is it fake? Is it real? Like, how's this next vote going to go if they lose the next immunity challenge? And Stephanie, even though Jacob is kind of on the bottom, Stephanie mentions that she does want to work with him. On the Navidi tribe, Dominic wants to try to patch things up with Chris and try to maybe get him on his side. And Chris says right away to Dominic, do you have an idol? And making it seem like that Chris doesn't believe Dominic, that he wants to make up with him. And what was interesting about this moment is that it showed us something, that Dominic himself actually was making a fake idol as well. So he made a fake idol, but what was different about Jacob and Dominic is the fact that when Jacob was telling his tribe about the fake idol, he neglected to bring back a note. Whereas Dominic, when he gave the fake idol to Chris, he had the note with him. So it makes it more believable, say that you have an idol when you actually have the note with you. And I have to scratch what I said. He didn't actually give the idol to Chris. He actually said that if he ever needs to use it, that he doesn't have a problem playing an idol for someone, that he's more than happy to play it for him. So, the immunity challenge, they had to race through an obstacle, and they had to basically swim to get these buoys, and they had to, whatever one had the logo on them, somebody had to collect them, and then they would shoot baskets. And because Navidi won the immunity challenge last time, they have to sit a player out, which is Angela. And what was interesting was Malolo was behind, and people can argue about this scene because it was James and Donovan in the water, and Donovan believed he couldn't swim, so he let James do it, but James just stood there. Like, he didn't even attempt to swim down there, and everyone's encouraging Donovan, saying, go and swim, go and swim. He's not doing anything. And lo and behold, Donovan, with the encouragement of his tribe, ends up swimming down, and he actually releases the buoys that they need to, but because James stalled for so long, it cost them the immunity, and Navidi actually won their second immunity in a row. And people might argue the fact that Donovan, just sat there, but Donovan knew that he wasn't a good swimmer, so he didn't want to make his tribe lose. He knew that he couldn't do something, so he wanted the other guy to chance, and he didn't want the target on his back. So, but then you look on the other side, James didn't even try. At least Donathan tried. It took him a while, but he actually tried. And Navidi sends someone from Malolo to Ghost Island, and that actually was Donathan. So I'm glad that Donathan's safe, because he's another one of my favorites this season. On Malolo, it seems like everybody wants Jacob gone, but they're still paranoid if his idol is fake or not. And Jacob wants to get rid of Michael, and I kind of get his logic behind it, because he wants to just get rid of the stronger threats right now while they can, and kind of break up that group, because as Laurel put it, that the pretty people have their own kind of clique going on, and that would make anybody feel uneasy if you're on the outs. And Jacob actually tells Stephanie about the truth about Ghost Island, that he wielded the legacy advantage to Morgan, that his idol's fake, because Stephanie wanted to buddy up to Jacob to make him feel like he's safe, so he wouldn't play his idol. So now Stephanie has some very useful information down the line, so if she ever aligns with Morgan, she can use that possibly against her. And it just amazes me, the fact that people still, after 36 seasons of Survivor, people still tell other tribe mates that they have an advantage or an idol. Like, that's rule number one when you get an idol or an advantage. And Brendan kind of suspects that Stephanie and also Jenna might be trying to double cross them, because they're talking, and he sees that Jacob's this kind of threat, so he's telling Libby and Michael that they need to watch out. At Tribal Council, James, he was the reason why they lost, but he knew he was at fault, and he owned up to it. So you got to give James credit there for owning up to that. And someone actually brought up the fact information imbalance, because Jacob is, with the exception of Donathan right now, Jacob's the only one who's been to Ghost Island, so he's the only one that can tell the tribe what exactly Ghost Island is, what to expect, and they don't know whether to believe him or not. And I was kind of uneasy about this vote. I didn't know who was going to be sent home. I thought it was either going to be Jacob being the obvious threat, and between James, because he was the reason why they lost, and it ended up being Jacob that got sent home. And I'm kind of sad, because I wanted to see Jacob go farther. I definitely think he could have gone a little bit farther in the game had he not made a bad first impression. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying Ghost Island so far. Before I end the video, when Donathan went to Ghost Island, apparently the 13 urns, there's not an advantage in each one of them, because when Donathan broke his, there was nothing there. So not every one of them has some type of advantage. There could be nothing in there. But yeah, I'm really liking the season so far. I can't wait to see what's next. I think my favorites right off the bat are, I have to say, Wendell, Dominic, and Donathan. Maybe I have to watch the next episode to see if I have any other favorites, because, just trying to get to know everyone right now. But yeah, apparently next week's episode shows that they're already going to be doing a tribe swap. So that'll make things very interesting, considering they've only been out there a week, and they're, just starting to meet everyone and starting to form alliances. So it'll definitely really shift things next week to have, I'm going to assume they're going to have a 3-person tribe. We'll have to wait and see. So I hope you guys enjoyed my Survivor recap. And if you want to catch Survivor, it is on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. on CBS. Until next time, stay regal.